Good day and welcome to Fit Frequency. I'm your host, Brad Taylor, along with Mike Vaught. Good day, Mike.
How you doing, BT?
I'm doing awesome. And you?
Doing fantastic. So excited to go ahead and have our podcast live again.
Alrighty, so Fit Frequency Radio, kind of a relaunch. We're going to have a lot of guests, guys. We're going to have authors and motivational speakers and a lot of different things. We've got an ex-Games athlete going to be coming on a future podcast. So we appreciate your comments and your feedback. Anything that you want to hear, a guest that you'd like to hear, let us know. We have an email address. That email address, Mike, is?
It is fitfrequency@snapfitness.com. One more time for you. That is fitfrequency@snapfitness.com.
All righty. Kettlebell Kitchen, Kim Perez, a nutritionist, is going to be our guest in a few short moments. Stay tuned. So we welcome in Kim Perez from Kettlebell Kitchen. She's calling in from New York. A good day, Kim.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking time to inform us on Kettlebell Kitchen. To our listeners out there, a little background, Kim, on you're a nutritionist, and what was your inspiration to get into that field? And then we'll talk about Kettlebell Kitchen and dive right in. So
yeah, okay. So I am a certified nutritional therapy practitioner, which is just a fancy way of saying that I was trained in a very holistic approach to nutrition and wellness. I also have a master's degree in community health education. And how I really got into this is through personal experience, really. As a kid, I was an overweight, pretty lazy kid who never really felt good. And when I was around 13, I decided, I want to be able to do all the things my friends are doing and play sports and not feel so self-conscious and have all these issues with food. So I started learning more about nutrition and exercise, and I lost a lot of weight. And that just really brought me to this, endless field of information. I just started diving into learning more and more, mostly for myself and how to help, keep the weight off and be fit and be healthy. But then that really turned into realizing there's so much misinformation out there. There's so much conflicting information. And I just realized that I wasn't the only one struggling, and I wanted to help people decide what was best for them and just live lives in bodies that they feel good in. I mean, that's the ultimate goal.
I'm hearing a lot of empathy there. What was the defining moment? You mentioned your background, you growing up, and you were overweight and not eating the food you should be, which is very, very common. It's something that does happen. But what was that defining moment for you? And the empathy is huge because you've actually lived it. You've gone through it.
There was a moment, actually. I remember, I think I was in 8th grade, and my friends all decided to try out for the basketball team. So we went through grueling basketball tryouts. And I mean, I hadn't really done any type of sports besides t-ball and, softball when I was in 3rd grade. So I wasn't really active, but I was in a new school and I had a new group of friends, and I was like, I want to do this too. And I remember not only were the tryouts just exhausting and I couldn't keep up, and then when all my friends made the team and I didn't, I just remember I think that was the defining moment. I think it'd been building up to that, but I remember coming home after tryouts that night and crying and telling my parents, I want to do something.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Let's fast forward to Kettlebell Kitchen. A little background on Kettlebell Kitchen. What do you guys do?
So Kettlebell Kitchen prepares healthy meals that are delivered to gyms and offices and homes throughout the continental U.S. Everything prepared fresh and free of gluten, dairy, soy. So, that's our foundation, and just trying to provide food that's healthy, but also delicious and really convenient.
That's hard to do. Just eating healthy for the average person. It's the way labeling and you see sugar-free, fat-free, all those, just to sift through the madness as a consumer, the average person. I mean, what does healthy mean? Eating healthy. Can you break that down?
Sure. I think that the biggest problem with healthy eating, and if you just Google diets for whatever, you're going to come up with so many different things. And, a lot of these programs and diets are promoting food that just isn't food. That our food system is just so overrun by really processed foods that are not good for us, and maybe promoting them as being good for us, like low fat, fat free, sugar free, et cetera. So when it comes to eating healthfully, I really think it's just getting back to the roots of the way that we're meant to fuel our bodies. And from a really simple foundation, it's just like eating a variety of minimally processed whole foods that provide our bodies with a lot of nutrition. And then from there, you can really dial in the specifics, like, how much to be eating, when to be eating, especially if you have specific goals that warrant that. But, once you get the foundation really built, then you can define the specifics for what works for you.
And so I'm going to be a little bit of the devil's advocate here and ask you a question I know you've been asked before. Well, that sounds great, Kim, but I can't afford to eat healthy. I mean, it's expensive to buy all organic.
Oh gosh, I hear that question so much. I think number one, it's definitely a priority. You have to think of what is your priority? Where are you spending your money? We know that, in our country, we have a lot of luxuries and a lot of things that, we don't need, and consumerism, et cetera. So we have to kind of think of where are we funneling our dollars? And yeah, I mean, you're going to prioritize money for food now, but what the payoff is going to be in the long run. I mean, we can look at what our healthcare costs are in the United States, and they're just multiplying. So, by paying a little bit more now, you're definitely avoiding paying a lot more later, not just in money, but in time and in your life. So I think that's number one. And then number two being that, when it comes to eating healthfully, eating organic is something that, people will connect to that. Like, oh, I have to eat everything organic in order to eat healthy. And I think that it's just two opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Like eating an unhealthy, really processed diet, and then eating like everything organic and from your local farm and making sure everything's perfect. You can find a healthy balance between the two, and you can prioritize the things that you funnel your money towards, the organic when it matters, right? Like organic when there are heavily sprayed pesticides, and making sure you're getting quality meat. But some of the other things, maybe you don't need to buy organic. And then the last thing, just being like, when you start eating more nutrition, and you're balancing your meals, and you're fueling your body on a different level, you avoid the need for all the snack foods and high carb, high sugar things that we buy at the grocery store. So your cart is much more simple. You're really sticking to the basics, and because you're not craving things and you don't need to snack all day, like it does also limit some of the other less healthy options that you would be spending your money on at the grocery store.
Being in the fitness industry, body in motion stays in motion, but you hear the catchphrases. You can't out-train a bad diet. Abs are made in the kitchen. I'm interested to hear your take on cheat days.
And it's funny that you asked this, because we actually, nutrition team, I had a meeting earlier this week, and we actually had a very in-depth conversation on this. So I'm glad to tackle it. I am not pro cheat day. So I'm not specifically anti cheat day, but I don't really promote it. And there's a couple reasons why. I mean, I think number one, the term cheat just implies like it's a negative thing. And I'm all about, you should feel good about what you're eating. You shouldn't feel ashamed. You shouldn't feel guilt or regret. And it's just terminology, basically. And I'm a really big believer in the way that you think and the way that you speak has a big impact on your health. So that is for sure the number one thing. But I also think that many programs or diets will encourage a cheat day because the rest of your week is so restricted. And maybe it's restricted of the foods that you love. Maybe it's restricted overall of just like enough calories to sustain you. So you need that cheat day to kind of like refuel physically, but also maybe mentally, emotionally. So I think if you can achieve a more balanced approach where you're feeding your body the fuel and nutrients that it needs, and you're not neglecting yourself of foods that you enjoy, maybe you're indulging once in a while, or you're finding healthy replacements for those things, then I don't think there really is a need for a cheat day. And I think you're just building more sustainability through diet and nutrition.
Such great information. Again, speaking with Kim Perez, Kettlebell Kitchen nutritionist on Fit Frequency Podcast. I have more questions for you. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more from Kim Perez. And I got a couple of questions, Kim, that I'm going to challenge you on. Thank you so much. We'll be back after this.
Hey there, Snap Nation. Michael Vaught here coming at you. We have an awesome new member offer that is out here in April, and it's with Kettlebell Kitchen. Any new member that joins a Snap Fitness will go ahead and get $100 off. Now, this is really important, guys. It's $100 off your 4th week of meals from Kettlebell Kitchen. Super exciting. Take advantage of that offer. Go join a Snap Fitness and take full advantage of that offer from Kettlebell Kitchen.
And the website, if you're looking for a club, is www.snapfitness.com, and just pick out your location and make sure when you go into the club, you ask about the Kettlebell Kitchen offer. So Kim, we've talked a little bit about sustainability and what Kettlebell Kitchen provides. Let's jump into what are some of the popular meals that are offered through Kettlebell, and what is your favorite? If you have one,
it's a tough question. In terms of popularity in our meals, I think one of the things we're really good at is taking traditionally unhealthy foods, maybe like comfort foods, and making them healthy.
Love it.
So anytime we have something like that on the menu, like we have a grass-fed beef hot pocket that is one of our most popular items. And I can definitely say that it's one of my favorites, but that is always a sellout. But anytime we make like a burger or a pizza, we even have some great desserts on our menu, like blueberry donuts. So anytime we take those like comfort foods and make them healthy, I think people just love it because you can enjoy that food where maybe you're not including it in your diet because it's not that great for you. But you can also kind of get this reassurance that like, wow, I can actually eat foods like this that are healthy and actually taste good too.
Do you have a mac and cheese?
We do, yes. We have a butternut mac
Mike is laughing because every time we're on the road, I'm always ordering mac and cheese. And he reminds me that that's not very healthy, but it tastes so yummy. Brings me back to the time when I was little and my grandmother made that mac and cheese.
Those
yummy.
comfort foods bring us back. We do. We have a barbecue chicken with a butternut mac and cheese, which is delicious.
A barbecue chicken with a butternut mac and cheese. I'm getting hungry. It's lunchtime here in the Midwest. Going down this road of the keto, I know that as a nutritionist, you can shed some light on fallacies or myths away from keto because you hear good, bad, and indifferent. Can you explain the difference between dirty keto and clean keto?
Yeah, sure. So, as with any nutrition approach, there's kind of a I don't want to say good and bad. I want to say like a better and not so good way to do it.
I love your attitude, by the way, because just the power of words, like when I said cheat or good or bad, it's such a negative, right? So I like how you.
Well, thank you. I think that it does make a big difference in how you perceive your diet and how you feel about what you eat. So, a clean keto is the way that I would say, that's keto done properly. And that's choosing whole foods to make up your diet. So you're choosing really good sources of fat. Even though keto is a very low carb, you're still including low starch greens and maybe even some fruits to get a lot of nutrients in. Choosing quality proteins, especially prioritizing grass-fed and organic and wild when you can. And then comparing that to what a dirty keto would be, this is kind of like the highly processed keto, the maybe a little bit more fun keto where you can eat a lot of cheese and a lot of butter and, you don't need to eat vegetables because you're not eating carbs. So, you can just sustain yourself on meat and butter and cheese and maybe even bacon. Yeah, bacon.
Bacon and
exactly.
butter.
And not that those things are bad. I think that bacon and butter get a bad rap and they're actually really nourishing foods, but too much of anything.
Did everyone hear that? Bacon and butter.
And butter.
They're good
Quality
for you.
Always matters. I have to throw that in there. Like good uncured bacon and grass-fed butter. But yeah, I mean, that's like the dirty keto. There's some keto is really popular right now. It's a buzzword. We're seeing it everywhere. So of course, food companies want to get onto that, and they can do that in a good way, or they can do that in a maybe not so good way, where they're promoting like sugar-free chocolates and highly processed powders that you can add to your drinks, and it's taking the foundation of keto and kind of just altering a little bit. Where of course it's appealing. I mean, who doesn't want to eat all that stuff? But if you want to do keto for the real purpose in creating health, I mean, then it's a no-brainer. You want to choose primarily whole foods.
So Kim, as a nutritionist, what is that weird food that you love? It could be healthy or unhealthy. Just interested. And do you always eat healthy? You smell it or see it and you get something you probably shouldn't eat, but it's a favorite of yours.
Yeah, so I guess I'll eat anything, especially if I know it's like really healthy for me. One thing that I really enjoy is, and I don't think this is so weird, but I know everybody else does. So raw sauerkraut, like a fermented cabbage, is really good for your gut. And I love it. But what I also really like is I drink the brine. So I'll actually like pour the sauerkraut juice and drink it.
You drink the brine of raw sauerkraut. You're not German. No?
No, it's just, I don't know. It's something
Wow.
about that, like kind of sweet, salty. And I think
Yep.
there's also like a placebo effect to it, knowing how good it is for my gut. I mean, I'm sure it's also benefiting me,
For
but
sure.
it just tastes really good. So that's probably the one weird thing I do pretty consistently.
We're visiting with Kim Perez. She's a nutritionist with Kettlebell Kitchen. We're finishing up here, Kim. I thank you for your time. Thoughts on fasting cardio? Any thoughts on that at all?
Thoughts. So fasted cardio.
Uh-oh.
No, look, I'm always devil's advocate. It depends. So fasted cardio is really popular for, fat burning effects of doing cardio on an empty stomach. For many people, it can be beneficial, but I think that there are definitely some cases where it's not so beneficial. Number one being when you're doing like very long bouts of cardio, maybe like an hour or more. Women in particular, I do have a very strong passion for women's health and hormones. So, for women, cardio on an empty stomach can actually be a little bit detrimental for the hormones versus what it can do for men. The converse side of that is many people like to work out first thing in the morning. And, when you're faced with the option of, should I eat before I work out? Or, I don't really have enough time. I'm usually saying, unless you're prepared to wake up an hour earlier to get some fuel in, if you feel good, if you feel like you have enough energy, if you don't feel like you're completely zapped after your morning workout without eating before it, then go for it. Just make sure that you're, refueling post-workout.
Great. Love it. What is the best way that someone can go eat better throughout the day?
I'd say one, just eat more veggies, especially greens. Eat more veggies. They're a good way to get lots of fiber and nutrition in. So they're going to be more filling and a good source of carbohydrates. Something else that I recommend, because I see it all too often, is eat regular meals. Don't skip meals. That's something that's really important, and balance those meals out. And what I mean by that is get your complex carbs, but make sure you have protein, and especially make sure you have fat, because these nutrients are going to help support balanced blood sugar, which translates to less cravings, better energy, clearer brain function, and more. And drink enough water. Make sure you're staying hydrated.
Water.
Yeah.
There you go. With Kettlebell Kitchen, we can take all the guests, or you can take all the guesswork out of that, right? And it's affordable as well.
Yes, we can.
Last question, Kim. Thank you for your time today. Kim Perez with Kettlebell Kitchens out of New York. Who's your inspiration in the health and wellness space? And any recommended podcasts, any recommended reading for someone that's looking for more help?
I follow a lot of really great, I guess you could call them health and nutrition celebrities. And I think they're all really amazing. But if I'm going to be like really honest, I have a lot of friends and people that I've met through being in this business that are where I get my inspiration from every day, because these are just real people like you and me who are doing the work themselves, but also on a mission to help other people. And I just love that. So I'm really inspired. I have a great group of other nutritional therapy practitioners that I'm really close friends with, and we connect almost daily. And I think that is a source of my inspiration. So I know that's maybe not helpful in terms of like who to go follow.
No, it is. I mean, so basically, you created a network or a tribe of like-minded individuals that you can confide and trust, and that's great. There's never a wrong answer. That's your answer.
I think it is important. I mean, I think it's important to have inspiration, especially, when it comes to things like social media and you're following, and this is the content that you're taking in. But I also just think that in that space of social media, when we're so connected to our phones and, not as connected in person and in real life, it's just so important to have that tribe of people that are really actually in your life that can bring inspiration to you.
Information on Kettlebell. Where can I go? Where can I find it? What do I need to do if I'm a consumer and I want more information?
Yes. So all you would need to do is go to kettlebellkitchen.com, and that's where you can view our menu, which we have a core menu, and then we have specials that change every week. So it's always changing. And you can also view all of our meal plans. We have 10 different meal plans that are all tailored towards different goals and different diets. And if you have questions, you can just email our nutrition team at nutrition@kettlebellkitchen.com. We're happy to direct you to any different meal plan, find what works best for you, send you any information we have about all of our meals and our meal plans.
Kim, thank you so much for your time today. Kim with Kettlebell Kitchens, nutritionist. You got the websites. Check them out, guys. And welcome back to Fit Frequency Radio. Fit Frequency Radio. Say that fast 5 times, Michael Vaught. I'm joking.
Fit frequency, fit. I'm kidding.
We had our guest today. Do appreciate Kim Perez from Kettlebell Kitchen coming in.
She was fantastic, by the way, PT.
She was awesome. I really appreciate her taking the time. So, guys, take the time to go to their websites and email. You got those. She mentioned those and inquire more about Kettlebell Kitchens and their features and benefits. Again, Mike, as a trainer, and Mike, you've been in this industry a long time. I have as well. You can't out-train a bad diet, right?
So true.
And abs are made where?
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen? In the kitchen. All right.
It's so funny, too, you know, PT, as people are going around, and right, they kind of justify that with, and it's true, abs are made in the kitchen. You can't out-train a bad diet, you know, so when you're done working out, right, it's not time to go home and pop down a piece of pizza just because.
Darn.
Dang it, right?
I did that last night. It's okay to have a cheat day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got something going on?
Yeah, no, you didn't hear about that big merger that happened this morning?
I did not.
So you didn't check out CNN or?
I've been pretty busy, actually. I mean,
so you didn't hear about that big merger?
I have no idea.
Okay, so this is huge, you guys. So FedEx and UPS just merged into becoming one company.
Whoa! Breaking news on Fit Frequency Radio. It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, this is it was just all over the news. You know what the name is? BT?
What's the name?
Fed Up. Is this thing on?
Fed Up.
Hello?
Okay, so hey, if you got a clean joke, you want to share it with us, the email is fitfrequency@snapfitness.com. Fitfrequency@snapfitness.com. And suggestions for upcoming shows or whatever, we'd love to hear from you, right? Thanks for joining this episode of Fit Frequency Radio. On behalf of our staff, on behalf of Mike Vaught, myself, the co-host, Kim Perez, thank you so much. Join us again next time for Fit Frequency Radio. Bye-bye.